What's up, guys? This is CkXCORE and Ghetto Bear, and you're watching TDC Moncton.
Hey folks, it's Nick, and I've got a new recipe for you to actually try, but this time it's not an experiment where I will know it failed. It's actually one that I've actually done many times over, and you may have actually tried it yourselves for all I know. It's going to be a tuna-based recipe, and it's not going to be anything hot. It's actually going to be something cold. This is perfect for summer, and because we're going in spring and I feel like having tuna, change of meat, I'm going to prepare it for you. So you'll need the following. You'll need, I use French dressing, but you're not going to be using it until the very end. This is to actually garnish your result. If you can find it, raspberry dressing, raspberry vinaigrette. This one is President's Choice. That one I use just a smidge. A can of flaked white tuna, great source of omega-3. If you're more than one person, you'll want to have more than one can. For myself, I'm only making this particular one, and I'm not adding in anything else to it. It's just going to be this with a few little ingredients. This is going to be used as a garnish or as a side for the actual plate. Some corn. You'll need a tomato. The bigger the better. Not too big, but this would be big enough to hold almost all the contents of one can after they're mixed with mayonnaise and some certain spices that you'll get to see in a few moments. You'll actually be hollowing this out. And I'm making myself some baked potatoes, but I'll show you a method to actually do them without using it entirely in the oven. Now, some people might not want to do it because baked potatoes are kind of a purist form of art. But microwave and a small oven or a big oven work well. So mine's going to be Red Island Reds. Get your stuff together, get your knives, your spoon, or a knife and spoon, because you'll need a knife and spoon. And we'll be right back. You need to wash potatoes. And you need to remove the eyes. This is a washed potato with the eyes removed. And all the bits and pieces you don't want. The reason why you need to wash them, if you wash them in warm water with a stiff bristle brush, I use this myself. Okay? You remove the sand, the grit, and the bits and pieces that you really don't want to be munching on. Potatoes are something of a wonderful item for me, for the simple fact that you can use them for pretty much anything. Heck, you can even use them in decorating by using it to paint. And why I'm doing this is because I want to make sure that I remove as much eyes as I can. Eyes tend to be depressions in the potato. They're not necessarily in the non-depressed area. When that happens, dirt can be trapped, sand particles can be trapped in those little crevices, even if you brush it. And trust me, there's nothing more appreciative than crunching down on a piece of sand, it ruining your appetite or ruining your crown. Trust me. I've been there with an ice cream, and I have no intentions of breaking a tooth or breaking a filling. And yes, you heard ice cream. I was eating Haagen-Dazs caramel corn explosion, and it decided to explode one of my crowns off. Okay, this one's pretty decent, and now, unfortunately, I think I may have not had the darn thing recording, which is a pity, because I was hoping that I'd actually get to have you listen in, but unfortunately, all I was saying is that unless you live in the desert and are a desert nomad, you shouldn't have sand in your diet. Sand, grit, or any other items wear down the teeth after repetitive abrasiveness, because they're pretty much in anything that they eat. Your teeth wear down faster than regulars, where there's no grit or sand. It's like sandblasting, but done by your molars and everything else. Okay, now these bits and pieces I'll throw away because we don't want them mixed in with potatoes. It's not that it's super crucial to actually not eat them, but trust me, you took them out, they have the sand bits and pieces, you don't want to be munching on them. Next bit, you need to stab these potatoes. Ah! Et tu brute! At least twice on 2 sides, deep stabs. Don't do it in your palms, please. I don't need people being injured because of their own knife handling. Once they're stabbed, you're going to be putting them into your microwave. And I'm not going to cook them now because I want my mix done before I actually start cooking these babies. When you put the plate in the middle, hopefully you have a rotary unit in yours. If not, it can become a little bit of an annoyance. But you're going to be doing these later. Next, we will do the mix for the tuna in just a few moments. Oh geez, I have no big bowl. I have a perfect bowl here. Now you'll need a can of flake. You can use regular tuna if you want, the chunk, but chunks, I'm never a chunk fan when it comes to it, especially because you're going to have to be mixing this with other ingredients to make it worthwhile. But the next bit, I'm going to use the same knife. I might as well show you. We're going to get back to la tomate, hi tomate, tomato, or for those that want to be a little bit more devastatingly accurate, a cousin of the nightshade plant. Eat this and you die. Okay, you'll want to wash your tomato, and this one's starting to bruise, but that's okay. Now you can do this with house tomatoes. If you've got your own tomatoes, even better, because it's an easy thing to do. You'll want to take a knife and you'll want to cut open the crown. Now you'll want to do it so that you can actually remove the core, and you'll want to cut on the inside so you can actually do this. Okay, this you won't need. You can eat it if you want or throw it out. Me, I just throw it out. Next, you'll need a spoon. Why a spoon? Well, this is the reason why. You'll gently stab at the heart of the tomato. And I just I stabbed right through the tomato. I just felt it in my palm. You'll want to be careful not to stab through it, and because you want some meat. You just want to take out the seeds and the core. Okay? That's the central reason why we're doing this. Oh, there's not a lot of meat. I took the meat out completely from the bottom. Depending on what kind of tomato that you're actually coring, some are better than others. You'll want to keep your wall meat, the central part. See, it's like so I destroyed this tomato. That's okay. It's for the purposes of showing you how to do the recipe. We'll keep it because it's still edible. And wasting food just because it doesn't look nice is bad. Now, normally it's better than this, but because I am pressed for time and it's late and I'm hungry, I'm doing it a little bit more sloppily. Pardon me for being human. Okay, I'm going to use the same plate to serve myself once everything's said and done, but now we get to wash our hands again. Oh, by the way, when you're preparing food, please wash your hands at the beginning and at the end. Because as you know, I use peppers. I'm not using a pepper in this one, but you could if you wanted. If you're somebody who's really, really up for spicy food, with jalapeno or habanero, you can actually create a spicy version of this. You just need to make sure that you use flakes or really fine mince of pepper, hot pepper of your choice, depending on the heat. Now, I use canned tuna. Canned tuna is as good as fresh tuna. But here's the difference with me and other people. I do not like tuna juice. It dilutes it, it gives it a taste that I do not enjoy. So I actually press the tuna until it's dry or close to it. I've never known why. I've never really enjoyed the water inside. Some people like it as is. Some people will eat the tuna right out of the can. I've met people that do that. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Eating tuna out of a can for me is, to put it bluntly, disgusting. But that's me. That's not necessarily you. So, we've got this. I'm going to take the same spoon and I'm going to empty out the can. Now for the next part, for the actual meat, for the mixing, see, one can of tuna. It would help if I turned you the right way. 1 can of tuna will fit in that particular tomato and give it some nice flavor. Preferably, you'll want to do this at least 4 hours in advance before the meal. Why? It's because this. When you prepare this and you put them in the tomatoes, you'll want to refrigerate your tomatoes for at least 4 hours. That's why. And the reason why is because by the time you sit down to eat, all that flavor that you've prepared in the mix has actually seeped into the inner walls of the tomato, and the tomato taste itself has shared itself to the mix. Basically, they made love without you looking at them. So, you can use real onion, you can use celery, you can use anything that you want in this. I will make it very simplistic. I'm putting onion powder and black pepper with Miracle Whip salad dressing. For those of you that despise Miracle Whip, I'm sorry. I enjoy it. It's as simple as that for me. It has a zip that actually makes it go wild. Now this, you'll need to mix it until you have your desired consistency. Trust me on this. It varies from person to person. I remember when Subway decided to change their tuna sub policies. They were putting in so much mayo that the mayo had turned the sub into a soup. And I remember telling the person after they created the sub, I said, no, I'm not eating that. It's way too disgusting. There was more mayo than there was tuna. They were being cheap. And you'll want your black pepper for as much as you want. You can add salt if you want. I'm not adding anything else apart from this. And it's not onion salt, it's onion powder. Onion salt is salty as all hell, and you do not want to actually eat that much salt. Now you'll want to mix this around until it looks homogeneous. And I think I may have to add sauce or mayo. It'll depend on how it sticks together. The thicker it is, if it comes out into somewhat of a paste, and a little bit. Now the reason why I'm putting more than a little bit especially if you use the definition of a little bit being a smidgen, an infant, a very small quantity. It's because when you press out the water from the can, the meat becomes dry. Any moisture that will sink into meat will be sucked up like a sponge. And as you can see, ta-da! Usually the mix is a little bit more fluid. Now, normally when I do this, I usually add in celery that you'll dice into very fine bits. Basically, you'll take a stick of celery, you'll cut it once, you'll cut it another time on the both halves, and if you want to make it even finer, you can cut all of them again, and then you just mince them, and then you mix it into this. You can add anything else. I think it was Wombly Peta from my YouTube followers that actually mentioned that if you do it a specific way with onion, you can do it with onion. I'll have other tuna recipes for people that want to eat tuna. Trust me, it's a very, very fun food item to actually eat. Now, as you can see, I just filled up the tomato. Now, when you add other elements inside, other veggies mixed in with it, you can even do this with egg salad if you want. Doesn't really taste as good, but everything works. Oh, nom, nom, nom. Okay, this is it. The only other thing that you'll need to do is now cook your potatoes. Now you'll need to do, hi, you can see me. You'll need to actually do a lot of trial and error if you've never used your microwave for baked potatoes, because the power of the microwave varies from home to home, especially by age. The older it is, the more powerful it could be, or vice versa. And God forbid if you get a power surge while you're doing this, because your potatoes are going to be charcoal briquettes. They don't bake. They dehydrate. The molecules inside any elements get excited by the microwave, or the microwaves, I should say. So I'm going to keep it at high because I've got 3 potatoes. I've done enough potatoes to actually get this somewhat close to what I need to be, by heart in other words. I'll put it at 10 minutes on high. Now, if you don't fork them, if you don't stick a knife into them, they will not cook fast. The water itself has nowhere to go. If you take a baked potato as is and you try to cook it, it doesn't work well, which is why when you're doing it in the oven, you're basically boiling them. The skin acts as a seal. The flesh inside has its water excite and decide to cook overzealously. So that's not bad. Now, while this is getting done, I'm going to prep my corn with a little bit of margarine and pepper and ginger also. And I'll be right back to show you guys the end result served on the plate with me then shutting you guys off so I can go eat. I know I don't need to give you a taste test because trust me on this, it's delicious. Now, some of my potatoes are already ready. Like, the smaller the potato, the faster it will cook. We're only at the 433 left mark, so I'm going to take this one out. You need to test them every 2 minutes. I'm going to put it in the oven. And I put the oven at 350 degrees, actually. I'll put it at 400 because I really want it to cook. I want the skin to crisp outside. This one's going to stay, this one's going to stay. And we'll resume the clock for at least another minute, and then we'll test again for the medium-sized potato because they're almost on the verge of being ready. And if you overdo it in the microwave, they become hard, starchy, and deadly range weapons. It's like the Charlie's Angels Lucy Liu bit where she throws her muffin and it actually embeds itself in the sheetrock in the wall. Except the starch would actually shatter before going through the wall. The second smaller potato is when your knife can go really through it, like butter, it's ready. Ouch. And be careful because they're hot. And this one's ready too. So, and be careful because they're bloody hot when you touch them. The plate's ready to be washed. And here all I've got is just plain corn. Can you see? Oh wait, let me... There we go. Plain corn with ginger and black pepper. I'm sorry folks, but I don't have a viewfinder on this. I have to lean back to actually see you. And I just put a piece of paper towel on top of it. That's to prevent splatter. That's all it is. Because I like my corn super hot. We're going to wait though. And we're going to give the potatoes, which are now toasting comfortably in this oven, at least a good 10-15 minutes to crisp. It shouldn't take too long. At 400 the oven has to warm up to get, because I didn't pre-warm it unfortunately, but that should be enough. Check back in about 10 minutes just to make sure you don't burn your potatoes. I'll check in 15 and we'll be back to see the results. And it's beeping. 15 minutes are up. And what you want is just a slightly tough skin and a little bit of toughening of the actual bits and pieces. So I'm going to turn this off, spear one, and we'll set up the plate. Oh, next bit is going to be the corn. 2 minutes. And that means it's ready. And I'm not doing anything yet. And we've just lost power. Well, isn't that interesting? Well, my cooking is at least done, but I'm gonna have to go get a candle so you guys can see. Hold on. Well, the power's still out. I got my jackknife. I have no choice. You're going to take your tomato and you're going to slice it into quarters, and then you're going to do further things to it. So I'm going to try to do this half in the dark because I can't handle... Actually, hold on. Aha! There's a swivel head. So, as I was doing, you're going to take it and divide it into quarters. And you can cut it into smaller pieces if you want, or it depends what you want to do. Kids, a tip: never do this on the corner of a sink. Okay. Unfortunately, doing this half in the dark doesn't help. And with that, I'm going to take my salad dressing. When things go wrong, they go wrong terribly, don't they? If it doesn't rain, it pours. I'm going to drizzle it just a bit. Well, for salad dressing, for this anyways, this is the one that you're going to drizzle just a bit, because it's got an open mouth. And let's check on the corn that was actually up in the microwave when the power went out. And it looks fine. Do I even have you in frame? Yeah, I do. Okay, good. And you're going to put it where you want it. And that's it. Voila. Your dish is complete. Now's the time to just sit, relax, eat. In this particular case, don't go running around when you have no power in your house. And it helps if you've got yourself a barbecue or a propane heated source of cooking. So sit, enjoy, have fun. And remember, cooking is always fun with people, especially in the dark. Then you have all the guesses in the world as to what the hell you're cooking. Anyways, folks, I'm off to eat a candlelight dinner alone. I hope you have a nice time with your friends and family. And I hope to see you on the next Cooking with Jan. Have a nice one.